Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. Guys, welcome back. For everyone that's new, this is a Let's Build video. What are they about? Well, I basically take a model kit and I show you how to put it together. I let you know if there's any points of concern or if there's anything you need to, be careful with when you're snipping it off or when you're gluing it together or anything like that. It's a visual aid to help people. It's also to help people that have things like dyslexia or struggle with instructions, and it's just a visual aid to help you guys. Or if you're interested in a new faction but you're not sure about things and there's one or two particular models you like in that faction and you see Let's Build on it and you think, oh, I can do that, that's pretty straightforward, that's to help you. For all my regulars here, guys, I really love, thank you very much. I'll see you in a second. So what am I building today? I say that every time, but you see by the thumbnail what I'm building. But anyway, we're building this Catan Shard of the Void Dragon. Absolutely beast of a model. And I've looked at the instructions and I'm like, oh my goodness me. It's going to be a difficult build, but you can only have one in your army, so we'll get on with that and get this one done. Been eyeballing him for a long time now. Now, straight off the bat, there are different head options. Okay, I like both of them. I think this one's going to be the easier one to clean and cut and glue on, but I do like that energy rushing between them. Which one is on the box art actually? The box art is the one I'm looking at. So that must be the easy one. That must be the harder one to put on. But I do like the face on that one. Box icon. That's just good. Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to put the head on, I'll clip them both off and I'll see how they go. But anyway, before someone gives that to me, still got the stat line. Movement 8, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 6, toughness 7, 9 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 10, 3+ armor save. Now I do believe he would have a invulnerable save as well, which I can't tell you what it is offhand. I think it's 4+ or 3+ or something like that. But anyway, he's got 2 weapon options. It's spear, and it has both shooting and melee. The shooting is 12-inch range. There's also a blast one. It's strength 9, -4 AP, and D6 damage. It's quite tasty. But in melee, it's +3 to the strength, which makes it strength 9, same. -4 AP and D6 damage. Now the reason it says +3 strength there for the melee instead of just saying 9 is because he's got loads of wounds. I think when he starts taking wounds, his profile starts to drop. So that's why it's +3. I think that's what it is. I don't have the codage in front of me offhand, but that's what I think it is. His weapon 2 is his tail. And it's, I don't know what it is. I think that's special attacks. I'm not sure. Or is that as the user? Strength 6. I think that's what it might be. Right, -2 AP, and it only does 1 damage. So it's not that great. But there's some more. However, it's actually fantastic. So anyway, my big base. We'll leave that to one side. Tools needed as always. Mold line scraper. Now you can use a hobby knife or X-Acto knife or a scalpel blade. I just prefer this. Clippers, most useful tool that we have. And I have this lovely stuff. Let's get a nice fresh one. Sanding sponge. It's basically sponge with bits of sandpaper either side. You can buy this in a hardware shop. It's very easy, especially on this build. These bits here, it's going to be. Just looking at them, there's no casting lines on them I can see. But when you get down to nitty gritty, there'll be something. Right, so, and it's a plastic kit, so I have plastic glue, but I also have super glue on hand, just in case. There's some bits here that are just, well, this is not going to be a kit that you can glue together in one day. Well, you can glue it together in one day, but you can't glue it in one sitting, shall I say. You're probably going to have to glue it in stages. Hopefully I can get it done over the course of 2 days. But anyway, we're going to look at the sprue. As always, we look at the sprue for everyone that's new, and we'll just ascertain what we can see and what we can't see. There's a body part, first of all. That looks like the crest when it goes in the middle of the helmet. Where's the... oh no, it's not. Oh yeah, it is, yeah. There's one helmet there with that piece. There's the other helmet. I think I'll just go with this one because that looks very fiddly to mess around with. There's a wing. There's another wing. Got a leg. There's another leg. I love that. See that? The little bits that are missing where he's just falling apart. There's his weapon, spear weapon. These bits are for his base. There's another piece there. There's his tail. There's his spine. And all these little widgets. And I had a quick look, flick through the instructions, and all these little widgets go together, and then he connects to them. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult one. So before we start with all the bits and pieces, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the base pieces apart and put them together. Okay. So the 4 base pieces, I'm going to snip them off, clean them down, and put them on the base so they're out the way. I know where I'm working from and everything else. So I'm going to come back to you once I've cleaned them off, snipped them and cleaned them off, and we'll see how they go on. Right, so I've cleaned them all off. That's how they go. So when you look at this, you shows you numbers and don't panic about that. Don't even panic about numbers around the side here. Just look at the piece. So this piece is the top piece. You can see by the book here, well not book, it's a slab of stone. There's a little box in the top there. That's that piece there, the blue piece. So you start with that piece. The next piece is this bottom piece. Yeah, same now. So that goes in the bottom there. Again, this piece, yeah, goes in the side. And then this piece, same as that, goes the other side. So all you have to do is then glue it onto the base. So I just knocked the camera, sorry guys. Glue it to the base in that same order. Start with the top piece first, glue that on. Now I'd imagine before you glue it on, actually let's give it a little dry fit so we can see how much space we have, how much play we have. Oh, we have plenty of space. There's plenty of space around the edges. That's good. Now with this, because this is a big model, you want to have it sort of centralized. Don't have it off to one side because it'll start to lean backwards. If you have it centralized, it'll hold the model central in the middle base. It doesn't have to be millimeter perfect. I mean, that's more over this side, but you know, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to glue this to the base, starting with this piece, then this piece, then the 2 side pieces on, and I'll come back to you when I've done that. Right, so that's on. Okay, now you can see the little lines where they join at the moment, but I did put some plastic glue in there, and when it's sprayed down you won't see that anyway, but just seal it because this is centerpiece model, so you really want to take your time with it. Look at the detail on there, look at the skulls on the scarabs wandering around the place. Absolutely fantastic. Now I can already see there's a space there, looks like, for the not even his feet. That's still the bits to go into that hold him up. There's one there, all the way around. But the next pieces I need are number 1 and number 2. And here's number 1. Okay, let me just, it's a little hand with a little bit of rock coming off it. It's just below the tail. Yeah, number 1, and number 2 is here. Okay, so 1, 2. Now you can already see with this, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse to clean down, but that's where the sanding sponge comes in. So you can hold the piece itself and just give it a gentle sanding sponge. I wouldn't try and clean it on the sprue because it will end up popping off because these tension points here where it's connected. So when you're snipping it off, don't snip it all off around bottom. Snip one here, one there, one there. Yeah, if you snip it here, it's going to ping. Okay, just you have to be very careful with this because of all these little fiddly bits. Those of you that do night haunts and the ghosts and everything else and the spectres, you'd have the same sort of issue with their flames. But anyway, I'm going to snip those 2 pieces off, clean them down carefully, and then we're going to see how they go together. Now, one thing I want to say is, I put the base together. The only things that go into the base are all these pieces. Okay, he connects into those, and there's nothing that has to go into the base before the base goes onto the base. So I said I'll get that done out of the way. That's nice and easy. That's part of it done. There's less stuff on the sprue to look at. So I'm going to snip those two pieces off, clean them down, and come back to you and we'll dry fit, see how it goes. Right, they are very fiddly. Right, so inside the hand there is a little square, and inside there is a little square. So basically, but this thing here has a thumb at the top of it. So that basically sits in there like that. Okay, it gives you that nice little effect. I'm going to glue that in and come back to you then. Right, so that piece is in. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm going to put it down to dry. Wow, that's tough. It's very, very fiddly. Just these little wispy bits of energy. So the next piece we need is number 3, which is the body. Nice and easy. Again, snip one side, snip there, then snip this one, then snip. So you just alternate what side you're snipping, just to be safe, because it's a €90 model. A centerpiece model. You don't want to mess anything up. You want to try and get as perfect as possible. So I'm going to snip this off, clean this down, come back to you then, guys. Right, I had to go. It's a difficult pass so far. Basically, the bit up here goes inside his body, okay? And it's very difficult. Now, first of all, I slipped it over his arm, and it didn't look right. Looked at the instruction, didn't look right. So then what happened is the hand came off. So I glued the arm bit onto the arm, and then glued the hand back into the hand with the thumb, the ball with the thumb back into the hand, and then realised that that's meant to go inside there. Okay, so now I have to leave that to dry, because I can't mess around. It's if I mess around and start trying to do other bits and it comes off, it's going to be too much of a bollock to put it back together. So that is how it is. Okay. Let's give it a new shot. Yeah, it's not really helping, but it goes into the body there. Okay, there's a little gap for it to nip into as well, and that's how it looks. Okay, so now I need to put him down to dry safely. I need to get a piece of polystyrene, I think, and just push his horn into the polystyrene so he can dry that way. Oh my goodness me. Anyway, I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, whilst that's drying, you see the top of the horn there. I put the hammer upside down and push him against the polystyrene, so his shoulders lean against it, because it won't take the weight of him with the horn. So now we need number 4, which is this one here. Yeah. And number 5. Now these two bits are going to go over the front of the body, the bit that I've just glued on. So I'm going to take them off, clean them down, dry fit how they go together, and then I'm going to leave it and come back to it later on, because I want that to dry fully before I go even attempt to add another piece to it. Okay, so I'll see you in a minute, guys. Right, so I've cleaned those bits off, and I'll just give it a little quick dry fit. Now this is very fiddly. So as you can see, that's all dry. It's nice, looking absolutely fantastic. But this is the arm piece. Now this little bit up here, there's a little nipple bit on the end there that slots into the little, would be the inside of the elbow bit, just there. You can see the little bit where it goes into. Now on the other side of this, that is his heart. So that basically, it's very fiddly, basically slots in. Something like that. Okay, I haven't got it in properly there, but you can see where it lines up and where it doesn't line up. This then goes over the top, and this would line up with his head, his neck, and the other side of the body. Okay, so I'm going to glue those two pieces on, and they are very fiddly, so I have them off camera, and I'll come back to you when I've done that. There we go. looks like, doesn't look like it's quite right there on this shoulder at the back here, but this is why I like working with plastic glue. There we go, that's it now. That's why I like working with plastic glue. So if it doesn't look quite right, you've still got plenty of time to have a little play with it and move it the way that you want it. Right, so the next thing we need is the head. So we need to decide what head we're going to use, whether it be this one, whether it be this one, and if you pick this one, there is this little symbol that can go into it, or this one. Both of those heads are fantastic, both of the symbols are fantastic, but I'm going to go with this one, just keep it simple, and I like the face on it. I think the face is fantastic. So I'm going to clip that off, clean that down, and then come back and show you how it goes. Right, so then this, as you can see, this triangle at the bottom of where the chin goes, and the bottom of the neck, that just slots on there. Again, it's good for using plastic glue, so if we don't like the way it looks, we can just adjust it. I just put it on off camera. Hold on, guys. There we go. So it's very fiddly. Now, at the back of the neck here, underneath this big horn, which is the one that's on the body, there's like a little V shape. Okay, there's a little V shape on the head as well, and that's just slots into there. I'll bring it up so you can see. Just underneath there, I don't know if you can see it, but that's how it goes on. Oh, there we go. This side you can look. See the V shape? Yeah. So where that little gap is now, what I'm going to do is take a little tiny bit of glue, just run it into that gap. That will seal the gap. Put the piece down. Oof. Like the next bits we need now, the legs. So we need 7 and 8, which are these two bits. Okay, just next to the spine. So I'm going to clip these off, clean these down, and they should be self-explanatory how they go on, but I'll show you how they go on anyway. Then the next, what you're meant to do then is put that onto the body, okay? But then you're meant to put the other two leg pieces together and put them onto the body. So what I'm going to do is clip these two off, clean them down, show you how they go, glue them, then take the other two leg pieces off, which is number 10 and should be number 9, which I'll find in a minute. But yeah, there it is. My nose. And I'll glue these two off, clean those two off, and then glue those together and show you how they go. And then leave them for a little bit, and then when they're dry, I will then glue them onto the body itself. Okay, so I'm going to take these off first, clean them down, show you how they go, and move on to the next leg after that. I must say, there's very little mold lines. I'm not even seeing. I'm having more problems with a little bit of the sprue left on the piece once I've clipped it on the sprue. So anyway, this is the first leg. There's a little bit there. You can see the little bit at the back of his, just above his heel, that clips. And there like that. Nice and easy, nice and simple. The only thing I say, you can see there's a little line going down his leg. So when I glue that in, I'll run a little bit of plastic glue along there. Look at that piece there. That needs to take that off as well. That's just from the sprue. But yeah, I'll run that along to just seal that joint as well. And then I'll come back to you and we'll show you the next one. Right, so with those lines down the side of his leg, I've run a bit of plastic glue on one side. Okay, when that's dry, I'll flip it up and do the other side before I glue them to the model itself, the base, the body itself. So now we're on to the next leg, which is number 10 and number 9. Number 9 is just above the spine. Number 10 is just above the spear. Okay, I'm going to snip those off, clean those down, and come back and show you how they go together. Right, again, same thing. There's a little square thing just above where the heel goes. There's a little square thing in there. So it literally just sits in there. Nice and easy. Well, it will sit in there. This is just a bit fiddly one, this leg. There we go. Okay, nice and easy. So I'm going to glue that again, the same thing again. I'm going to glue it, and then I'm going to run glue along one side of the joint because there's a little joint line. and then leave that to dry, and we'll move on to the next piece, because I want this to dry fully before I glue it into the body. And so the next piece we need is his spear. Again, this is a very long piece of plastic, so snip one here, then snip one this end, then snip that one, then snip this one. Yeah, that's my advice, because if you snip this end, snip that end, there's going to be tension here. So if we do alternative ends, it should stop it from breaking, or stop it from springing up and losing it somewhere and having to spend half an hour looking for it. So I'm going to snip that off, clean it down, and come back to you then, guys. Right, just be very careful with the spear, because I nearly broke it. I was trying to clean it and then I knocked it with my hand and just nearly broke it. Right, so this spear, this arm here, you see this is a weird shape. There's a weird shape there. It literally just sits in there like this. Nice and easy. So I'm going to glue that in and then come back and we'll look at the next piece. Right, the next pieces we need are his spinal column, okay, which is number 17, number 20, which is this lovely little piece here, and we need number 19, which is on the opposite end of the sprue, which is this thing. So same as that one, just opposite end. I'm going to snip those off, clean those down, and then show you how they go together. This is going to be some really easy parts to put on. So here's the spine. This part has to be on the inside, okay? Now, to this big square here, there's a square block in there that literally just glues into there. So it looks like that. You have the other one, the other side, like that. Now both pieces, top pieces, have to line up at the top there. So it's very, very simple, very easy. Now both pieces have like a little curved bit at the top that just links into each other. It may not touch each other because of the way it's positioned on the spine, but there'll be like a little gap like that, but you'll get the gist of what way it goes. So I'm going to glue that on and then come back and show you. Here's how it looks. Very simple, very straightforward. Now there is a little square there. That is where I'd imagine it would slot into the back of him. I see a little square in the back of him, so I'd imagine that's where that slots into. But we'll cross that when we come to it. So now we're going to go to the legs. So the first leg we need, let's go back to the back page, is going to be this leg. Now this leg just slots in. Let me have a look at the instructions and figure it out. I'll come back to you guys. Right, I've got it. This is very tricky. This literally just goes in. I'm going to do it again. It slots in like that. Okay. So that's how it joins. And that's how it looks. So you can see his heart, you can see all that stuff. So I'm going to glue that on and we'll come back and show you the next leg. Right, slight change of plan. Couldn't get the one leg to hold, so then I dry fit the other leg and then realised the front part, they slot together. So that's why I glued him together like that. Now, because one side, let me dropping this to plastic glue. Right, so as I was just saying, if I drop the glue, his right leg, which is this one, this side, is easy to put on. And it connects into this one. This one is a difficult one to put on. So I put them like that, and I was dry fitting in, and well, I say dry fitting in, but these two are glued, and it was working perfectly. But then this leg started coming apart. So what I've decided to do is just stop myself before I start getting frustrated, leave that to dry, so that's one piece, and then glue that in. The leg this side actually just slots sort of just under his ribcage there, but it connects in here perfectly. And then if the other side's lined up, this piece goes over the top of his bum cheek, if you like, over the top of this part here. So actually doing it this way is going to save you a lot of stress. Okay, Once that glue's dry, it's one piece then. It's not going to come apart. It's just welded together and that's it. And as soon as you get it in with the plastic glue, you can then fiddle around with it without it coming apart on you. So that's where I'm at with that. I was actually thinking that the energy pieces had to be put together and then glued to him, and no, that's all different because they actually go into the base next. So after this stage, this is the next thing to do. So that's where we would be at. Well, after the spine, sorry, this is the next stage, and then all the bits glue into there and then connect onto him. So I'm going to leave that to dry. Let's waffle on a bit more. I'll leave that to dry, and I'm going to come back to you in a couple of hours when that's dry. Well, a couple of hours for me, but it's only going to be 5 seconds for you. And then we'll glue that on and we'll start working on one of the next pieces. See you in a minute, guys. Right, so I haven't glued it on, but that's roughly how it goes. Okay, just literally just to slot it in, just line it up so that that curve here lines up with the top of his bum cheek. Yeah, it's a little bit fiddly, but that's how it roughly goes. Okay, so I'm going to glue that in, and then I'm going to come back to you for the next piece. Right, so we've done this piece, that's that piece there. Yeah, we've done the base, so we're already ahead of ourselves now. So as I said at the beginning, doing the base first, it doesn't interfere with nothing. So now that's already done. So now this is the difficult part. Okay, so the pieces we're going to need, we'll start with the easy ones first, I think. Actually no, let's start with the one that has multiple bits to go onto it, because that can be drying whilst we're sorting the other pieces out. So 27, 28 and 29. So where are we? There's 29. There's 27, this big massive piece, and there's 28. So 28, 27, 28, and 29. Okay, so I'm going to snip those 3 bits off, and I'm going to clean them down, and we'll come back and show you how they go together. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward, more straightforward than I realised. So you've got this piece. This is 27, this big piece. This little piece is 28. The little piece slots in there like that, and this other piece, you got one flat side, you got this mad little shape. So this one flat side and this mad little shape. This mad little shape slots in there like that. So now you have the platforms for it to go into, and you have the energy swirling around. So I'm going to glue these 3 bits together, and then I'll come back to you for the next pieces. Right, so the next pieces we need is 25 and 31. So 31 is by the wing and 25 is over here. Yeah, just give you a point of reference so you know where it is. Sorry I keep knocking the camera. Sometimes I go to stop filming and it's so cold that my camera is not recognising my finger on touchscreen, so it's me knocking the camera, and it's not stop recording. But anyway, I'm going to snip these 2 off, 25 and 31. I'm going to clean them down, and then we're going to come and they're going to go into the base and show you where they go. Right, so to tell you, first of all, you have to turn the base around. I'll show you, show you, pick it up. It's that cold. Come on. So we put this base together like that, okay? But you have to turn it around. So these blocks are at the bottom. That's the way it goes. Now, this one here, let me drop in hobby hands. This one here, with 3 bits of energy coming down. This bit literally goes in there, like that. So it just slots in, not a problem. This one, you'd think it was like that. No, it goes this way round with the little scarab and the little symbol on it, and it just slots in there like that. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up. Right, that's how it goes in. Yes, yeah, so the inside part of that one is exposed. You're looking at it, but the inside part of that one is exposed when you turn it around. So I'm going to glue those two pieces in, and then come back to glue this piece in. And this piece goes the other side, but I'll show you that when I come back to it. Right, sorry about the tractor noise in the background because the farmer's turned up to do some work. This piece then slots in there like that. Very, very straightforward. But this piece here is the piece that goes this side. So I'm going to glue that into place, and I'm going to leave that for an hour or so, because the next pieces are just for the pieces. One piece goes here, and this other piece then goes, you know, more of this energy stuff. So I'm going to glue that in, and then I'm going to come back to you with the next piece. Well, a few hours for me, but it'll be 5 minutes for you, or 5 seconds for you, shall I say. See you in a second. Right, so the next, that's all dry now, so that's grand. The next piece needed is number 32, which is this piece here, next to the wing. So I'm going to snip this off, clean it down, and then I'll dry fit it and show you where it goes. Right, so this piece is very, very straightforward. Okay, this is the piece. You see this, it just slots over the top there without me dropping it. It just slots over the top there, like so. Okay, so I'm going to glue that on, and we'll come back to the next piece then. Right, next one is 26, which is this one here. Okay, to give you an idea, it's on this, there's the head, it's that piece over there. Okay, now this is these are all for to take off because of these little bits, but this one, look at the instructions, is going to probably be the most difficult piece to put on, because it has to go down at a certain angle and has, I think it's 3 points of connection. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Now everything should be lined up perfectly here, so if I get the angle right, it should go straight in, straight on, not a problem. But I'm going to clip it off, give it a clean down, and dry fit it, and show you, and then come back and show you how it goes. See you soon, guys. Okay, this one isn't as bad as it looks in the instructions. It looks in the instructions, it's saying come down at this mad angle, but it's not. So this is the piece. This is the way, this is the bit we just put on. Bring it up so I can show you closer. Okay, this basically, let me drop it in because it's so numb. This clips on there, yeah, that clips on there, that clips in there. It's that simple, but I'm gonna, as you can see, there's still parts on this one to add stuff to, and there's still parts on this one to add stuff to. So I'm gonna glue this piece on, and then we'll come back to you. Right, so the next piece we need is this piece here. This is number 30. Okay, this one next to the spinal column, sorry, the bottom of the tail. So I'm going to clip this, clean it, and dry fit it in and show you where it goes. Very straightforward. So this piece, the bigger part clips on there, and the other bit then clips in there. Yeah, so that bit clips on there, that clips in there. I'm going to glue that on. We'll come back to you because the next bit is the tail. That seems to be the fiddliest part so far that I have most problems with. There's 2 points of contact on it, and it's just, that's the most difficult part that I've come across thus far. I can imagine lowering him into here is going to be the hardest part. But anyway, the next ones we need is number 33, which is the last energy piece, and number 18, which is his tail. So I'm going to snip those, clean those, and come back to you then. Okay, this is a little bit of me fiddling around, but this is the piece. Basically, slots in there like that. Very, very easy, very simple. So I'm going to glue that on, and we'll come back and start looking at the tail and how the tail goes on. Right, and the tail then, this lovely little thing, just slots in there. Okay, so I'm going to glue that in, and we'll come back to look at the next piece. Oh, you just knocked the whole thing off the table. Such hobby hands today. Right, I'm going to glue that on. Right, so the next actual piece is Mr. Man himself. Let's go into there. Now, just by looking at it, I can see that this piece connects into here. Okay, this piece is probably going to go on here. There's a few points of contact, but I think his tail actually connects. No, his tail connects to the spine. Yeah, so he connects in to the energy itself, and then the spine will connect onto him and connects into the. So again, everything still has to be in the correct place, and it's. It looks like it is pretty much spot on, so I'm very pleased, very happy so far. This is one of those kits that looks absolutely insane built, but it looks insane when you're looking at it on the sprue. Now my hope is that by me doing this video on this particular model, I help you to actually be able to build this yourself and take that fear away from putting it together. As you can see, it's just starting to come out. So let's push that back in with some plastic glue. So with this video, if it is helping you, then hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Turn your notifications on. I'll remind you at the end anyway, as normal. But I'm going to leave that to dry now. I have to just probably pick that up and hold that into place, and leave this to dry for an hour or two, and then come back and then we'll glue the man into it. And then I have to leave him to dry for an hour or so, and then put his wings on, his spine on, and he's done. So see you in a second, guys. So now it's time to lower Mr. Man into it. Now, trying to figure this out, and I was looking at it, and it basically, he's got 3 points of contact. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it basically goes in like that. So that one on the far left one goes there, the middle one goes there, and then the back end one connects onto here. Something like that. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that into place, and then come back for the last piece. Well, glue it into place, leave it for an hour or so, then come back and do. Okay, let me start again. I'm going to glue him into place. I'm going to take the wings off of the sprue, which are the last part. Said wing and said wing. I'm going to, by the looks of things, it doesn't matter what side they go onto, but I'm going to check. Where are we? 15 is this side of him, so that's this one. So I'm going to take this one off, clean it down, but leave it that side of me, and then take this one off, clean it down, and leave it that side of me, so I know which way it goes. It doesn't look like it has, you know, it doesn't matter what side it goes onto, but I just want to make sure that I do put the right side on the right side just in case. And then it's a spinal column, so I'm going to glue him into place, as I said, take them off, clean them, and I'll come back to you when I'm ready to put the wings on and the spine on and finish this guy off. See you in a second, guys. Right, before I go on to the wings, actually, I said there's 3 points of contact, there's a fourth one. This is the fourth point of contact here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this one goes at the front, this one goes, both these two go at the front, these two go behind. So you just have to line, I lined these two up first, and then just fiddle with the two in the middle. So you can see it's still, yeah, that's fine, that's all fine. So now I'm going to leave that to dry and then come back for the wings. Okay, see you in a minute, guys. Right, they do actually have a side. So you'll see there's a little square. This is for this side of him, and this little curved piece here that actually sits in. See that there? That actually sits in there, like that. That's how that sits in. So the other one is going to sit in the other side, exactly the same. Yeah. And then the spinal column, that little square there, sits in over the top like so. So I'm going to glue those pieces on. I don't know if I'm going to use plastic or super glue. I'm probably going to use plastic first of all and see how I get on with that. And that's going to be it then. I'll come back and show you some pretty pictures. Right, I've put them on. I will tell you this, I am slightly off. I'll tell you why I'm slightly off, because these hooks, I'll bring you down and show you some pretty pictures in a minute, but these hooks should be over this shoulder, this one. I've lined it up with the spine. It's sort of, the glue's not, the glue's taken, but I just need to pinch it a little bit more into place. But when you're putting the wings on, put the wings on, leave it for an hour, then come back and do the spine and the little bottom on the back, because it's a little bit tricky. We've got trying to line two different things up at once. But yeah, I'm gonna push that together off camera, but I'll bring you down and show you some pretty pictures. But that's only a bit that's slightly off, and it's not even that much off, it's just the tiniest amount. In here where I showed you that square bit on the underneath him, there's a little slop to it in the back. That's where I'm slightly off. It's not lining up there, but it's not noticeable. You're not really gonna, unless you have the model yourself and you know holding that's a little bit off, it's perfect. Apart from that, my thoughts on this, I was going to give this a very easy rating to do, but that last little bit just threw me off. So I'd probably give this a difficulty of a 7. Now that's a loose 7. It could be 8, but you know, somewhere in that region. Just that last bit with the tail and the little bot on top of him just threw me up a little bit. The rest of the build is easy as anything. Any corners to cut, as in putting the legs together, and I've shown you that already. So there's no other sneaky little ways of getting this done first and that done first. I've shown you that. In terms of parts going together, with the exception of the spinal bit, that's just slightly off, and I think that's my error. It's actually a pretty easy build. The most hardest thing is looking at the sprue and go, oh my goodness, there's lots of little fiddly pieces and, you know, bits that look confusing. But as soon as you start putting them together, like this first piece with the thumb and the ball and then the arm, that looks really weird and confusing. But as soon as it went together, I was like, oh, okay, now I know it goes. All of this swirly stuff looked really weird at first, but as soon as it started going together, it's grand, it's fantastic. Yeah, so I'm gonna go off camera and just give that little pinch together and just hopefully that can dry set nicely. If you've enjoyed this video, it's helped you in any way, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It helps the channel out in a massive way and costs you absolutely nothing. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss any other builds that we do, or any painting videos, or any videos I post. For all my regulars here, for everyone else, thank you very much for watching, and I'll bring you down and show you some pretty pictures. Until next time, guys, take it easy.